In the last episode, we talked about how to iterate over a collection of objects. If you haven't seen that one, basically we had an array of tweets, which I've already set up here. And you can see here, these are just basic JavaScript objects with some key value pairs or attributes. So if I cycle back up, I think I can find a function that I wrote. Yes, here we go. So this is a function that we wrote that generates a little bit of HTML about each tweet. So you can do display tweet and you get kind of a string of HTML. Now we're not using this for anything in particular. This was just kind of a little demo that we did. Now the real point of this particular episode is that we had a situation where we were iterating through a collection of tweets and then we were calling display tweet on each one. And I made the comment that it would be really nice if instead of having to say display tweet, we could say display or tweet.html or something to that effect. Now we could do that, and I pointed out we could do that by defining the HTML function for each tweet individually. But that gets really annoying, and we don't want to be defining functions for every single object. It'd be nice if we could define sort of a class or something like that, like you would have in Ruby. So there are a number of approaches to this, and I promised in the last episode that I was going to show you how to do prototypes here, which is a big topic. So the first thing we need to do is define what is a tweet. So it's going to be more than just a basic object. So we can do something like function tweet, and it's going to take in attributes, and let's see, what do we have? So we have this dot username equals attributes dot username. Let's say this dot content equals attributes dot content. So we're just basically just modeling off of what we have in our other objects. We'll say this dot likes equals attributes dot likes, and I think the last thing is retweets. Okay, so again, shift enter. So there's a few points here. The way that we have named this with a capital T indicates this is meant to be something that we're going to initialize with the word new. So we can say new tweet like this, and you can see that it gives us back a tweet object now. So whereas before this said object right here, it says tweet, and we have username, all the attributes that we wanted are undefined. So we could do, for instance, we could say tweet with now this tweet. Hold on, before I do this, let me actually just let me just type out tweet so we can remind ourselves what it is. So it's a basic object that has these attributes, and then we can say new tweet and just pass in that tweet, which is just a regular old object with attributes. And so now we have a tweet object. And the significance of this is that now we can define methods on what's known as the prototype for a tweet. So in other words, like the prototype is kind of like if you wanted to make a factory that makes tweets and every single one gets the same methods and functionality, that's what the prototype is for. Okay, so let's cycle back up through and find that function that I wrote, display. So I'm going to modify this, and I'm going to say tweet dot prototype. Yeah, how do I do that? Dot, let's call it HTML equals function. and it doesn't need to take an argument, and tweet will be transformed to this because we are going to, well, let me fix the word everywhere and then we'll talk through it. Alright, did I get it? Looks like that's everything. Yeah, so basically we're going to be calling this function or method on a tweet object. So this is going to look at the properties stored inside of the tweet and call this on them. So let's just run and see what happens. So now if I say tweet, let's just call it t equals new tweet, and then we pass in our tweet. I know that's a little confusing. I should have renamed those to be like tweet data or something like that. But just remember that tweet is a basic object, not a tweet object. So we have t equals new tweet, and we pass in our data. Now if I call t.html, you can already see that it's telling me that I should type that. We get back our HTML on there. So that's exactly what we set out to do, and now every single new tweet gets that method. I mean, we can do, let's do u for undefined equals new tweet, and we'll just pass in an empty thing, and you can just say u.html, and it's going to give us a bunch of junk back. So, you know, if we were building a real application, we would want to handle that scenario. So yeah, and we can, you know, pass in new tweets on the fly or new data on the fly, so just like you would expect. And we can say u.html, and it generates exactly what we had before. So that's basically it for a really quick introduction to prototypes. If you like this episode, click the like button and please subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes coming your way. Talk to you soon.